So, I really enjoyed the last two readings, and I thought I'd do more. If you guys are interested in any like requests for bits and pieces of story here and there, just let me know in the comments below. Like I said, I'm still like learning how to do these, so give me some, cut me some slack. Anyway, so now we are doing the fight between Fulgrim and Rogal Dorn. So here we go. Marius beheld it all. Propped up against a broken pillar, he watched as his Primarch's wrath unleashed. "Your pretty wall is broken, Rogal," Fulgrim declared as he lashed his blade into Dorn's shield and drew splinters. "Your famous fortress is undone. Dorn's blow knocked the next few words out of his mouth. Fulgrim stumbled. Dorn's greatsword tore into his ribs. Fulgrim struck back, but found only the shield again. "You are a man in a broken tower," Fulgrim taunted, and spat out blood. "You stand so proud and so defiant, ignoring the fact that the tower is falling around you. It will—" Another blow. Fulgrim staggered away, then spun, head lowered, hair billowing, keeping his distance. Dorn lunged away, driving his shield into his body and face. Fulgrim threw him off and leapt aside. "So silent, Rogal," he crooned. "No words of denial? No pleading for me to change my foolish ways and come back to you? You can tell me it's not too late. You can promise me such sweet forgiveness." Dorn blocked into him and broke his guard with his shield, and buried his blade into Fulgrim's shoulder meat, then body smashed him in across the platform. "Deeds are my words," Dorn said. Fulgrim nodded and spat out more blood. "Always," he agreed, licking the blood from his teeth. "You never were the wit, never one for fine conversation. It's just hard at work and—" Dorn broke his guard again with another lunge, carving a chunk of plate from Fulgrim's flank. Fulgrim shrugged and then hammered out 9 rapid blows, each one a master kill stroke. Dorn blocked every one. Their blades flew, ringing against each other, drawing sparks. Fulgrim danced backwards. Dorn advanced. Fulgrim whipped his mouth with the back of his teeth in his hand, smeared blood across his cheek. "Are you really not going to try to convince me," said Fulgrim, "that I have made a mistake? Talk me back into the fold where I can make amends?" Dorn shrugged and threw 2 rapid blows to Fulgrim, only him to block the effort. "No," said Dorn. He struck again, a low slice that Fulgrim parried, then high back cut that tore through Fulgrim's armor and scattered broken rings from golden mail. "I'm just going to kill you," said Dorn. The Phoenician growled and charged 2 steps. Dorn met his first slash with his shield and countered the second with his blade. A third he parried. A fourth he turned aside and the squealing slide of steel and threw off sparks. Fulgrim backed off, his arms spread, circling. "Are you now?" Fulgrim said. "How bold, how empty. Look around." Dorn's glare remained fixed on Fulgrim. He feinted a step, a bait Fulgrim took, then rammed the Phoenician with his shield and hammered 2 blows into his ribs from his pommel before they broke contact again. "I said, look around," Fulgrim snapped. Blood was streaming from his wounds, rolling down from his gashed armor. Some of it had gotten into his hair and tossed his sword from hand to hand, then seized the grip on both. Hacked down at Dorn. Dorn blocked with a raised shield, turned out, and ranked his blade deep across Fulgrim's chest. Fulgrim stumbled clear. "Look around! Look around!" he screeched. "See what's happening, Rogal, dolt! Your tower is tumbling down. No more running to Daddy crying, 'Look what I've built!' It took you years to make this, and in one night I rolled down upon you and cracked your shield and built a foothold." Dorn stamped on him, and they traded 4 more swift blows that chimed like bells. "Look," said Dorn. His gaze did not shift from Fulgrim's face. "I don't have to. I see it all." "All what?" snarled Fulgrim. He swung, Dorn turned the blade aside. I see your siege machines burning at the foot of the wall, said Dorn. I see your sonic weapons silenced. I see your host foolishly committed into the entirety, pouring into the run of a wall that can be held by a force 1/10 of that size. Their blades flashed and rang again. Dorn lost a chunk of the shield. Fulgrim took the laceration to his shoulder. And it is held by a force 1/10 of that size, said Dorn calmly. The Imperial fists, now bolstered by 200 Legionnaires Astartes veterans that I brought with me. 200 veterans who are skilled in every doctrine of war, who have rallied this garrison and this wall stretch, and they are now slaughtering the vanguard you so wantonly committed. They thank you for giving them such a wealth of bodies to reap. You have no foothold. I have! Fulgrim roared. He smashed his blade at Dorn. A series of furious strokes, Dorn parried them away. Only one got through and gouged his shoulder guard. No, said Dorn as they circled again. You're a fine fighter, but a poor strategist. You are committed to everything against a gap that you could have held. You burned at the cream of your host for nothing. You made them cannon fodder. 9,000 dead and counting. I know, Fulgrim. I know everything. You know nothing, Fulgrim cried. He rallied it and made a gleaming blade slice the flesh from above Dorn's right eye. Dorn caved his ribs with the edge of his shield and punched him in the face with the sword guard and kicked him backwards. You've let yourself be used as a distraction, said Dorn, keeping his gaze on his adversary, ignoring the blood pouring down his face. You've let your host be decimated. For nothing. The Saturnine ruse, I know that about that too, has failed. Perturabo played his move and lost his piece. You're just a pawn. Was it the Lord of Iron who fooled you into this? Lupercal? Abaddon? You must have been so willing. You were getting bored with it. The spear tip is broken. You're holding a gate for no one. You're just an idiot standing on a wall. Fulgrim's eyes widened, very slightly. It failed? He whispered. Dorn lunged. Fulgrim leapt back. Dorn sliced at Fulgrim's cape clear. I'm not trapped here. I'm not under siege today. You are. And that's why I'm going to kill you. The Praetorian swung. Fulgrim parried. Dorn followed in. And the great sword tore Fulgrim's cheek open. The Phoenician stabbed fanatically, splitting armor and lacerating Dorn's side. Dorn struck out and severed Fulgrim's left wrist so that the hand was left hanging from a shard of flesh. Dorn drove the entire length of his blade through Fulgrim's belly. They stood for a moment as though embracing, the length of Dorn's sword spreading out through Fulgrim's spine, and streams rising from the blade. Fulgrim's resting his bloody cheek on Dorn's shoulder and side. Dorn ripped the sword out and stepped clear. Well, whispered Fulgrim, blood splattering from his mouth. What a mess. He straightened up, gore still running from his torn face and broken plate. It really failed, then? The Mournival plan, he asked. It did. They are all dead. Oh? Fulgrim smiled as much as he butchered his butchered face with a laugh. Teeth were visibly through the slash of his cheek. You do fine work. I wanted a scalp, said Dorn. I wanted his head, Lupercal, but you came instead. A traitor, Primarch. I'll make to do with you. All these things you know, said Fulgrim. So very able and informed. But there are things you don't know. Name one. One, said Fulgrim. I can't die. He stared at Dorn. His wounds closed, the skin reknitting without a scar. His dangling hand refused. His armor fixed itself and regained its luster. His blood dried up and blew away as dust. Two, he said. I am sick of all this. All of it. All the others can find a way to grind you down and bring your fortress low. I cannot die, but I feel pain, and I won't take any more of it. He sheathed his blade. His form began to grow. stretching its dimensions with an unearthly inner light. His legs fused like flowing wax, and he became from the waist down a gigantic serpent. The thick loops of his snaking lower body coiled out across the stonework, scales gleaming like the mother of pearl as he rose up. His Lamian form towered over the Praetorian. There were scales around his eyes and cheeks, and his tongue was forked. Dorn stared back up. He did not take a step backwards, but his eyes narrowed, and his grip on his sword tightened. There were no words for the impossibility of what he was seeing with his own eyes. 3, said Fulgrim, no longer smiling. I hope our father burns when the time comes. I hope Lupercal turns him into a screaming corpse. But you will not live to see that, Rogal. You're the one who dies here. So, there you go, guys. I know I had a few hiccups here and there. I'm still learning. There were some edits I had to make here and there. But, yeah. I'm still trying my best to do these things, because they are fun. And like I said, if you guys have any excerpts you'd like me to read out in here, just let me know in the comments below. Other than that, hope y'all enjoyed this. I'm having a lot of fun with these, so yeah. Anyway, once again, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.